And good afternoon. I now call to order the meeting of the Snowline Joint Unified School District Board of Trustees. Thank you all trustees for setting aside time today to meet for this special meeting. I hope you all have find a great value in collaborating here and with our community and setting the direction for our district for years to come. This time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Holman and our guest, Dr. Mitch Hovey, and Mr. Dick Bray to lead us through the mission and vision statements, core values, and district goals study session. Dr. Holman?
Thank you, President President Behringer. Boy, sorry about that. President Hernandez, and to all of our other four trustees. Really appreciate your willingness to make time for today. This study session, right, is really really shaped around just what you said. It's just a wonderful introduction there, President Hernandez. And we thank you for taking time out of your busy days to do this powerful work. And with that great introduction there, President Hernandez, I'm going to try to continue that, right, with the introduction of our governance advisors here from San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. They've been outstanding for us thus far. Those two of our two newest board members in Daniel Flores and Nathan Bristol, I bet they would agree with me that they appreciated the outstanding work that they led in December. So here we are back in February to do just what was mentioned by President Hernandez, and that is engage ourselves in work to really structure our organization so that it's reflective of all that's needed to really serve our learning community, most importantly, our students. And those two individuals are going to be leading us. Dr. Mitch Hovey, you know him maybe already, if not, just as that reminder, he comes to us with a very long and successful educational background, but specifically most recently superintendent in two places, in Fullerton, and then prior to that in the Yucaipa-Calamasa area. So it's so great to have Dr. Hovey with us. And then also Mr. Dick Bray. You know that name from Hesperia Unified School District, the superintendent out there, and then out in Tustin, which will come into play here today as we'll see some of the work that was done in Tustin Unified School District that might very well be a service to us as we use the resources that they'll share with us, so that again we can really set the course in the way that's really in the roles that trustees have, right? Providing that direction based upon the stakeholder input and feedback that we'll provide all of you. So I'm just thrilled to have both Dr. Hovey and Mr. Bray here to provide us with this opportunity in the next 3+ hours up until 5 o'clock or so as we do the work that they'll introduce right now. So with that, Dr. Mitch Hovey, Mitch, are you ready to start?
We are ready. We'll see how this rolls with our slide setup. But anyway, welcome. Thank you, Ryan, for those kind words. President Hernandez, thank you so much. We're really pleased to be here. Both Dick and I have been able to work and continuing to work with other districts, but we're pleased to be able to work with Snowline because we know you've done a lot of good things already together. So with that being said, let's get into what the overview of the workshop is. If we can go into the next slide, Alan, to the next slide.
Yeah, is it showing welcome and purpose?
No.
Okay. All right, let me try this again.
Ryan, if this doesn't work, I've got mine on my desktop. We can just make me the presenter and we can do it that way if you'd like.
I mean, it sounds good. We'll just see what Alan ends up saying. I just have to tell you, I promise it's really good work. I mean, it's even better than this first slide. I don't want to, spoiler alert here for sure, but it is really good stuff. So if everyone can hang in there, you're going to see outstanding stuff in mere moments.
Let me go ahead and take this off again. Let me stop presenting for a moment. And Mitch, why don't you go ahead and take over? I'm so used to Google Slides on here. I don't know what the glitch is. But yeah, go ahead and I'll stop. I've already stopped presenting, so you can go ahead and go up there again.
We are for sure. And with vaccines being pumped out, yeah. I'm in the middle of a board meeting right now. Do you have something pertinent? Okay.
All right, we're going to try this again. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, started
So
Yes.
we're back to the title slide. So let's go to the can you all see the next slide is welcome and purpose?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Right now.
Just to sort of give you an overall view, basically, both Dick and I realize that you as a board have done some phenomenal things. And Ryan, you've done great work with your board and your cabinet. But so basically, we're here to build upon the previous work that you've already done with the board and the advisors from the county. I think Ralph Baker did some work with you relative to effective governance. We're here to work and grow together as a new governing board. And I use the word new governing board sort of in quotations because you're not new as a governing board, but you've got 2 new board members. And then in essence, that makes you a new governing board, but basically to work together to help you accomplish and achieve your legacies. This is an opportunity to capitalize on the synergy by growing as leaders. I know when we spoke, when we did the workshop in December with Daniel and Nathan, there was a high energy level. And we already know that you as a board have a high energy level. So our purpose is to capitalize that. And what we pulling all that energy together, call it synergy. So our goal here is to capitalize on the synergy that you already have, continue to grow as leaders. One of the areas we're going to address today, and some of you may have already done this, I believe Ralph did this with you with the previous board, but identify and better understand your working styles. And I think the intent there is just to understand that we all, as humans, have different ways we work, different things that make us tick. So we're going to identify and just talk about working styles. I think it'll be interesting to sort of have you identify your own working style and then talk together as a team as to how your working styles blend and how you can work together to make those working styles work for you. We're going to talk about review and discuss the current values and needs of the Snowline Joint Unified School District. I know Ryan's done some great work by getting out a survey and getting some information out. So he's going to share some of that information with what he found. Talks about what some of the needs are of the district and what people value. We'll have an opportunity to review the local control and accountability plan. You know that as the LCAP. Then we're going to dive into identifying, developing governing board core values and belief statements. And then we'll move into building upon the process you already have in place for the board superintendent evaluation piece. We're going to look at reviewing and refining and then finalizing the Snowline Joint Unified School District Governance Handbook. And I realize that's something that the previous board had already been working on. And I think, Ryan, you shared with me that, hey, you're just about getting ready to finalize it and get it adopted, and then COVID hit and everything got put on hold. So we're going to come back around to that governance handbook at the end. And then we're also going to talk about attributes of what makes for great, highly effective boards. And just so you know, we're not going to do all of this today because you think, how in the world are we going to get done by 5 o'clock? No, we're not going to try to pull all this in today. But this is an overview of some of the things we're going to cover together. Over the workshop we've got scheduled today, we'll get a start, and then we're going to carry that over into March. And then if we need another one, we can go from there. So this just gives you an overview of the things that we're going to discuss and cover together. With that being said, Daniel and Nathan, you'll sort of already recognize this question. One of the things we like to start with is talking about who are we and what do we bring to the table, and then also talk about what is your hope and vision for the Snowline Joint Unified School District. We have a unique group of individuals. We all bring different things to the table, different strengths to the table. So we're going to start the conversation with who we are, and then ask you to also share what is your hope and vision for the district as either a board member, superintendent, or cabinet member. So with that being said, I think, Ryan, perhaps would it be all right to ask you to start just to say, what do you bring to the table and what is your hope and vision for the Snowline Joint Unified School District?
Yeah, thanks so very much, Mitch. Love to. Certainly my honor. I'll try to be quick here, certainly to make certain that everyone has the needed time for this important start here. And I'll just tell you, who am I? I'm, again, Ryan Holman. Right now I serve as the superintendent. Certainly my honor and privilege to do so. This is the 5th year now in that role. It's my 27th year working in Snowline Joint Unified School District. I think I've said in this setting before, very proud graduate of Serrano High School in the Snowline Joint Unified School District. Many years ago. I'm 54 years old, so that was back in 1985. And honestly, really appreciate that because it comes into play in part when I talk about my hope and vision. My hope and vision for the Snowline Joint Unified School District, tried to put this simply, is I want each and every individual connected to Snowline, but most importantly, our students, right? That our students feel like when they are with us, that they matter. And then as they transition out, and they matter immensely to us, they realize and connect that way. So they feel like they matter. And then after they're done, they realize because they felt like they mattered in this setting, they felt like they were cared for and given an education and an experience that serves them in all that they want to do moving forward for the rest of their lives. And so then when they look back, they'd say, yes, I mattered to Snowline because I was cared for. I was given the education that I needed to be able to realize my hopes and dreams for my future. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, I'll just sort of let you share. We're going to ask each of the board members to share. And also, Ryan, I think we discussed having your cabinet share because they're an important part of your team.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that.
I guess it'd be appropriate if I go next. Obviously,
Yes.
Marcus Hernandez. I am a mechanical engineer by degree, and the last 20 some odd years of my career, I've recently transitioned to a more managerial role here in the high desert. So fortunately, not commuting any longer. And I guess what I bring to our district is the idea or the mindset that of business, of how things should be run effectively and efficiently. And I've shared a couple times in the past, but nowhere else in the manufacturing world are you given raw material in any state, a presentation, and you have 13 years to work on that piece of material and turn it into the best thing that it can be. If any kind of manufacturing world lived by those rules, that if a supplier gave you what they wanted and you'd have to turn it into what you needed, there's no way anybody would function. But that is the task of schools. We are given all children in whatever state and condition, whether it be, a highly functioning home environment or, less than ideal. We have to work with everybody, and we have to provide all the necessary resources to turn that product into an excellent person in terms of education by the end of 13 years. So, it's a wild idea, coming from private industry like that, to see what happens on the school side of things, of public administration like that. So, that's my background and what I hope to be able to achieve for us. And, my wife and I moved to the high desert 17 years ago, and we picked our home because of where it was. It wasn't within Snowline boundaries. We were not interested in the rural living, so we were fortunate enough to find a home within a tract development that was part of Snowline. I live in Victorville, whereas the great majority of our district is not an incorporated area. So what brought me here was the excellence in education that Snowline provided, and knew of it long before we came here, and knew that it is what I wanted for my future children. At this point, I have a child in middle school and another one starting elementary in hopefully this next school year. And I want to be able to contribute all that I can to continue that excellence that we already have. And I've mentioned it in meetings before, that I want to be part of an evolution of education, not just, teaching the way we've taught. I want pathways. I want specialized curriculum. I want to prepare our students for, global, globally innovative areas, and I think we absolutely can. We have the ability, we have the drive here. So that is really what my hopes are for this district in terms of the future and where I want to go with it. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next.
How about we have Clark Colum go next?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steve Colomb. been on the board for 10 years, something like that. And I have a degree in biology, master's in educational technology. I'm a retired school teacher. I taught middle school for 5 years, and I taught high school for 20 plus years. And I'm now retired. I was a track coach, chemistry teacher, AP chemistry teacher, science teacher, math teacher, you name it. Pretty much taught everything. I have grandkids in pretty much every level of Snowline, elementary, middle, high school, with I think three in high school right now. Or is it two? No, two in high school. Let's see. I guess my short-term vision, long-term vision is sort of like Marcus's. I want my grandchildren to be able to pursue anything that they want to pursue and have the opportunities to pursue them. Let's see. Like Marcus, I want our district to have the best educational opportunities of any place in the high desert. I guess short-term, I would like to see more rigorous classes at the high school, especially AP classes and AP chemistry, because I feel like we're falling a little bit short there. Chances are, the way it stands now, my grandkids will never take AP chemistry, but I still want the high school to have the most rigorous classes it can possibly have, while maintaining we have the greatest career pathway opportunities about anywhere. In fact, most of my grandkids will probably follow that path. In fact, I have one now that's in the multimedia academy, and he really likes it. So short term, some more rigorous classes in the high school would be my vision. I'd like to see an orchestra come, or stringed instruments come to Snowline, because we've always had a really great music program, and I'd like to see it expanded, if possible. And that's pretty much it.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm Christina Behringer, and I have a degree in public administration, and each of my children matriculated through Snowline Joint Unified School District with a fantastic education, and they all have gone on to receive advanced degrees at university level, and they were very, very well prepared for the education that they received at Snowline. I am also a past employee with the district, and have firsthand knowledge how wonderful a district it is to work within. And so I additionally have a collective 10 years experience serving on the board among two different districts. And my goal for our district moving forward is to continue high levels of academic achievement for our students, and to really have a variety of opportunities for them to pursue and explore, so that once they are done and they graduate with that diploma from the high school, they are prepared to choose, in whatever path they choose to explore in their adulthood, that they are well prepared for that. And there are just so many things that I'm very proud of our district. And so I'm hoping that we'll have an opportunity later on within the study session to share those. But it's just a fabulous district, and I look forward to continuing the great work.
Great, thank you.
I can go next. You guys ready? Okay,
Yes.
So I'm Nathan Bristol. I'm a fire captain paramedic in the city of Redlands by trade. And then I'm a parent of three, currently going to all different levels in the Snowline School District, 3 children. I have a daughter that's going to Baldy Mesa Elementary School, a son that's going to the middle school, and then also a high school student. So the one in the middle school is getting ready to go to high school next year. So I kind of have a lot at stake riding on the school district right now. But kind of my goal and my legacy, I would like the students to just be inspired to learn, to be lifelong learners. I know this is maybe the kind of wordy, but I just want them to be excited no matter what, if they're going to be and go on to university or college or trade schools or technology, whatever avenue they pick, public safety. Everything is changing so fast. You watch the technology sector, and they're claiming it's going to be autonomous driving in 3 years, and everything is moving at such a fast pace on the technology front and the job front and the job market. All the kids in high school and junior high and elementary school now, and when they hit the job market, they're going to, in my opinion, are going to have to know how to pivot constantly, because the job market is going to change and change rapidly because of technology, and that pivot or movement is going to have to be based on their ability and excitement to learn. So if they develop these building blocks of being excited about learning and continue that, whatever their field of expertise is, they continue that excitement for learning, they'll be able to do that in the future when they think, oh, now I have to start a different career or pivot or move a little. There's going to be rapid learning always involved, and they're going to have to do it for the rest of their life. So that's what kind of inspires my legacy for these children. Also, more about me, I have a degree in emergency management and public safety. It's basically a business degree with some FEMA and disaster prep stuff thrown in there. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Nathan.
Okay, I'm Daniel Flores. I kind of a few things of who I am. I'm a Snowline grad back in 2002. I have a construction background, and also I'm a pastor now. Been doing full-time ministry for about 9 years, and then I'm a parent here in the community. And so when I look at those kind of things, what I bring to the table is growing up here, I love this place. I love this district. It's why I moved my family back here to be a part of this place. And so I want it to remain / return to the excellence that it has had. As a construction worker, I'm really into hard work. I'm really into results. And at the same time, being willing to change a plan. Sometimes there's ways that, a blueprint is drawn up, and once you're out in the field, you realize this isn't going to work, and you have to be able to be willing to make a change when a change needs to be made. And then in the church setting, obviously there's a lot of things we do as a church, and there's things that we want to get done. But there has to be a love for people. We can't do anything and leave people behind. And so when I think of those things, I think it's kind of I hope a well-rounded look at wanting to make sure things are done right, but then still understanding that we have all our stakeholders that we have to think of, mostly our kids. We have to do what's best for them, but that's not going to work out well. It's not best for kids if we have, either administration or teachers or classified staff that are unhappy. So we have to do what's best for everybody involved. And so that's kind of what I see with that. And then again, as a parent, just like Nathan said, Member Bristol said that I really care that this district do well. I have kids. I'm pretty well invested here that I want to see them be successful. And so my hope and vision is that we'd offer that top-notch education so that we have the highest academic choices here. But also, if there's students who don't want that, like I didn't want that, and I still, with the quality education I received, was able to excel in construction at a young age and do really well at it. And so from CTE choices and then all the extracurriculars that keep kids engaged in the learning process. I think that's one of the hardest things, is to keep them engaged. I think that's the challenge we're seeing right now. And so when things can open up and open up safely, I think I love that we have sports that are top notch. I love that we have music that's top notch, all the clubs that we have. Anything that keeps a kid engaged in the educational process, I want to continue to see. And I want us to be able to say when a kid graduates from our district that we've done everything to make them well-rounded and productive members of society. And again, like Member Bristol said, that ability to pivot, the world is changing. And I think we just need hard workers. We need people that are willing to put in work now more than ever, and be responsible about that. So those are the values that I kind of have and would like to see around here. So that's my take.
Thank you, Daniel. Ryan, I know you have a few of your cabinet members. Would they also like to share?
Yeah, I do, and I know they're totally prepared. So maybe we can start with our Assistant Superintendent, Dennis Zimmerman. Dennis, you mind starting off? Then we'll go to Alan Miller and Robert Chacon, and end with, last but never least, Nancy Stabb. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming together today on behalf of students and community and our staff. I would say, in a sense, I'm a husband, dad, grandpa, Snowline staff member, in that order. And what I bring is a love for Snowline. I've been blessed to have a substantial history with Snowline. I'm an alumni Snowline dad. Hope to be a Snowline grandpa at some point in time, and I think what I bring to the table is just a crazy work ethic to serve others. My hope and vision is really to see that Snowline's made up of, caring, competent, and motivating staff that work together to care for and serve and develop our children and our youth into adults who will then repeat that cycle generation after generation. Competency by itself, no. Heart by itself, no. We need to, have those two bounce back and forth off of one another so we can be, servants in this community and in this world.
Great, thank you. I think you said it right, Dennis. Servants. Very nice. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Alan Miller. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Student Learning and Support Services, the learning side of the house, and but we're all part of that process. That's our bottom line here in Snowline. Like Ryan and a number of the others, I'm a graduate of the Snowline school district system. Graduated in 1983. I'm both literally and figuratively in a Snowline family. My wife works for the district. Both my daughters have attended Snowline. One's currently a sophomore. One graduated last year and is in her first year of college. So I've got a lot vested in here as well. So many of you have already said it so well, and my thinking's really in line with yours. I've said before is, my goal, my vision for every one of our Snowline students who leave our organization, they've got a plan for the future, and whether that's off to going to post-secondary path, or that's going into vocational studies or the military, they've all got a solid plan leaving here. I also believe in order to reap the benefits of a good education, that students do need to be connected, just like Daniel said. It's great to have a hook, a passion, whether that's theater arts, sports, one of the extracurricular clubs that we offer at the high school or at the other secondary schools. You've got to have something to get you excited about schoolwork, because for most kids, schoolwork in itself is not going to be enough to hook you and get you passionate about your experience here in Snowline. So I think with those things in unison, we can really get a lot of mileage out of our students and really send them on a positive trajectory to whatever's next for them when they do leave our school district.
Thank you, Alan. Next.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Robert Chacon, I'm the Assistant Sup for Business Services. Like Mr. Miller, not quite that long ago though, Mr. Miller, I too am a Serrano graduate, class of 2000. And similar to Daniel, kind of came back into our community. I have two elementary age kids at Pinion Hills Elementary School. And really, I just love our community. I love being here. I love this place, the people. It sounds cliche, right? But it really is. It's a family, and it's bigger than just the Snowline family. Snowline kind of reaches out, and we really do work closely with our community partners, our Chamber of Commerce, our Kiwanis. We help with the one parade that happens annually at the Phelan Family Fun Days. I mean, we really try to be a good neighbor within our community. For me, I'm out of the business office, so I feel like I personally have I have to be a good steward of our community's money, right? It's not ours, it's our community's money. And so as we plan and develop and look at programs, those are things that I look at really closely as far as managing funds and dollars. So hopefully we'll get to spend some time talking about that in the near future as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Robert. And I think we have one more is Nancy.
Sorry, have to switch over from one program to another. I have worked in the district for almost 29 years now. I have had several positions. I started as a part-time campus monitor at Serrano High School, and then just went from there in many different positions. I had 4 children who are successful adults now in the community who graduated from Snowline, and I currently have 6 grandchildren attending Snowline and 1 graduate grandchild of Snowline who is currently in her first year of college at Dixie State in Utah.
Wow.
And I want to see that students can connect and that they can make those connections that will help them to make their way through their years in school. High school, I would have to say, is probably the most difficult. And I have had kids of my own and grandkids who have made connections and a couple that haven't. And so my hope would be that all can make those connections, because that is what kids need. They need whatever kind of program works for them and is going to help them be the most successful. I love being an employee of the district. I could not have asked for a better job or better people to work with. In my 29 years, I have made great friendships and have had the opportunity of working with just great individuals that I am so grateful for. And as well, now being on this senior cabinet team, I work for fine people who just give everything they have to this district, to the community, and to their jobs. And I am forever grateful for that and glad to be a part of it, and just want success for everybody.
Great. Thank you very much, Nancy. Ryan, I think we let everybody share that needs to share?
We sure have.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Just in hearing all the things that you all have said, what a blessing it is for you to be a part of this district. I heard every one of you say the connection with some students, and you're there for student learning, and you're there because you love the district. Your families are there. Your grandkids are there. So really, what a great team that you have. And I think that shows by the work that you continue to do together, the work that you want to do together to continue to grow and learn together. So, your kids in your district, I know just from what you've shared are in good hands. So thank you all for sharing that. We're going to be using what you shared when we talk about core values. So as you begin to think about what your core values are, and we're going to talk more about what core values are in a little bit, but we're going to want to have you think back about why you're in the district, what you bring to the table, what is your hope and vision. Then we're going to ask you to say, all right, based upon that, what are your core values? What do you really stand for? And our hope will be to take those core values and be able to develop some belief statements, and then mold those belief statements in maybe 5 to 7 core values with belief statements, something that you can use, something that you can put in as a part of your governance handbook, and something that will help you to guide the decisions that you make for your district, all coming back to why you're there in the first place. So thank you for sharing all that you did. This next section, we're going to get into the concept of working styles. We're going to talk about what working styles are, what do they mean. You all should have a working styles questionnaire and scoring grid, which was a handout. Right, Ryan? Is that correct? That they all have the
sorry about that. I was a little slow getting up, but yeah, they received all those resources. Yes.
Okay. And I have samples on my desktop if we need to. And then we're going to have you do that in just a bit. Not yet. We're going to have you review the scores, look at your different working styles. We're going to talk about how do you make the most of your working style, and then how do you complement the working styles of others on your team. And this is important to know because we all bring different things to the table. We all bring strengths to the table, and it's important to know how your teammates work. What's the style that they bring to the table, and how do you use your different working styles to complement each other? So with this being said, just sort of the background, Dick is going to walk us through this next section about working styles. Dick?
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, and this should be fun too, fun activity. And some of you may have done this before, but it's always good to revisit it and kind of look at it again. And it's something you can really use in looking at working in teams and on the board, in the cabinet, all of the work you do in teams, you're working closely with other people that may have different working styles than you do, and sometimes that can create little problems. And yet, if you know about their working style and can recognize it, there's things that you can do yourself to just make it a lot better and more effective. So basically, in the working styles that we're using, there are 4 identified styles for working styles, and they go along 2 different axes. The left to right one, kind of the east to west one there, is assertiveness. And so at one end you have low assertiveness, and at the other end high assertiveness. So kind of asks at one end and tells on the other. And then for the north-south axis, it's responsiveness. And this is really talking about how much they display emotion. So high responsiveness would be emotes, or emotion is always kind of close to the top of their expression, whereas low responsiveness would be high self-control. So within those 4 quadrants, then you have amiable, which is low assertiveness but high emotion; expressive, which would be high emotion and high assertiveness; analytical, which is low responsiveness and also low assertiveness; and then driver, which is a lot of self-control, low responsiveness, and high assertiveness in telling. So let's go to the next slide. Let's take a look at each one in a little more detail. In the analytical, and remember that's low responsiveness and low assertiveness, so asks rather than tells, and high self-control. These are folks that are cautious in their actions and decisions. They really like organization and structure. Don't like a lot of high involvement with others. In other words, they enjoy doing things by themselves. They ask a lot of questions about specific details. These are folks that really want details. They prefer objective, task-oriented work environment. And analytical folks want to be right, and therefore they rely heavily on getting a lot of data before they make a decision, because they want to make right decisions. And so they really go out of their way to shine a light in every dark corner and collect as much data as they possibly can before they make a decision. Which means they work often slowly and precisely. And again, they don't mind at all working alone. They seek security and self-actualization, and they're really good problem solvers. So to summarize the analytical style, they need to be right, and so they need to generate a lot of data and look at all the options before they make a decision. Their orientation is thinking. These are deep thinkers. And their growth action is to declare. The next style we're going to look at is driver. Now these are folks that are firm in their actions and decisions. They like to make quicker decisions. They like control. They dislike inaction. Inaction really kind of bothers them. Like, let's get it done. Let's get it over. Let's go on to the next thing. They prefer maximum freedom to manage self and others. They have cool, independent, and competitive natures with others. They generally have a low tolerance for feelings, attitudes, and advice of others. They work quickly and impressively, often by themselves. They seek self-esteem and self-actualization, and they have really good administrative skills. They can get things, drivers can get things done. Check the boxes, get their to-do list accomplished. That's a driver style. So, to summarize the drivers, they need results. Make a decision. Let's move on to the next thing. Their orientation, action. Their growth that they need for these folks is to listen more before they act and not act so impulsively. The next style is amiable. Now, the amiable folks are slow at taking action and making decisions. They like close personal relationships. They don't like interpersonal conflict. This working style, folks with this working style really don't like interpersonal conflicts. They support and they actively listen to others. Okay, they're really good listeners. They're a little weak, though, at goal setting and self-direction. They can work within goals, but not if you let them or ask them to make the goals themselves. That they're a little weak in that area. Amiables have excellent ability to gain support from others, and they work slowly and cohesively with others, seek security and belongingness, and they have great counseling skills. In a school setting, these would be your counselors. So the amiable style, they like personal security. Their orientation is relationships. They can work with everybody. And the growth action that they need to work on is to initiate. The next style is the expressive style. Now, these are folks that are spontaneous in their actions and decisions. They like involvement. They like being with people. They don't like being alone. They often exaggerate a bit and generalize. They tend to dream and get others to caught up in that dream. But they also jump oftentimes from one activity to another, not quite finishing what they were working on before they kind of get distracted to go on to something else that they want to work on. So they usually have a lot of open projects that they're working on. They work quickly and excitedly with others. They seek esteem and belongingness, and they have really good persuasive skills. Expressives, their need is personal approval. Their orientation is spontaneity, and usually high energy. And their growth action, they need to check. They need to think before they act. Often they're just too spontaneous, and they need to kind of stop and think before they act. Now we like to call your attention to the handout that you have. That's the Working Styles questionnaire. We'd like you to actually take the questionnaire now and record your answers, and then take your answers and put them on the scoring grid. And the low score, when you add those up, the one with the low score is your dominant style. Now, if you happen to get a tie, then you choose between the two, whichever one you think best represents you. Well, let me give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll take a look at that.
Hey, Mitch, is it possible to keep the other document up, just in the event that anyone had struggles printing, because we're not in person?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks. The first page of it, as people can, in case, like I said, they'd like to work off of this. Thank you, Mitch.
Is that good? I can't get the whole thing all at once, but does that give you a good idea?
I think that's great. And then, maybe, a few minutes into it, we can get 5 up there, if that makes sense.
All right.
Thanks, Mitch.
Sure.